All right, guys, what is up? We are doing another stream today. No guest today. Basically, I've been sick. Like it sounds like everybody else has been sick. Just feeling like crap, coughing, stuffy nose. Everyone in my household and basically all my friends out here too, all been super sick. So I didn't want to schedule a guest today and then cancel on them. So I just decided that I would take you guys through some of my favorite old workout demos from the past. What's up, everybody? Yeah, great question. Where is that 1,000 subs? It's going to be coming soon. What am I, like 19 away? Oh, yeah, 19 away. How you like that? What's up, Corey? The tour? Tour of what? What are you talking about? All right, I'm going to pull up some videos here. It's also been a crazy week too, just with semifinals. I have 9 masters I'm working with right now in semifinals, and some of them are pretty low maintenance, and some of them are aggressive. Oh, yeah, the tour of all media. Yeah, thank you. I call it the journey. You call it the tour. You know what? I got to get you guys' numbers. You, Augustus, some other people, and if I need somebody on shorter notice, you guys are always here in the chat anyway. I'll have you guys jump on in the future. I'm going to keep today's show very short, though. 30 minutes or so, maybe 35. But some of my favorite workout demos. What's funny about the CrossFit, the old game site, or sorry, not the old game, the old main site, is the way that they used to categorize their videos. And so you have like workout demos in one area, and then you had the journal, which was separate from the rest of the demos, where you would like click the wave file and like it would pop up, or you download it and watch it, whatever. And so there was like a whole workout demo area, and that's kind of where I spent all my time, is in that. I went through the journal and read some articles, but there's a ton of videos that were embedded in journal articles that are really hard to find. They're just like not that commonly seen, and they are uploaded. A lot of them, not all of them, are uploaded on YouTube now. So sorting through the mess that is YouTube with no categories, no way to figure out what's what, and finding these old demos is challenging. And then looking at some of these old videos that I've never even seen that were embedded in the journal are tough too. So it's kind of crazy, but I found this whole little patch on YouTube, one page that happens to just have all these demos that I probably done like 1,000 times. So here we go. Something else. How many people here have done this one? So this was probably one of my staple workouts early on, because you didn't need anything but a pull-up bar, maybe an ab mat. I feel like Tabata was something we used to see a ton of back early on. Like it was on main site a little more often, or used a little more frequently, and now we don't really see Tabata much of anything. Never mind Tabata something else. This is Rob Miller. He is one of like the OG guys in the original HQ videos. Just like total beast, but doesn't always move the best, which is, I think, a common theme we're going to see across a handful of videos today. Yeah, the frog kip. There was so much of that. I feel like when people tried to speed up their kip back in the day, instead of trying to just like accelerate away from the bar, he's actually pushing off a little bit better there. So that's a lot better. But instead of doing that, they would just drop straight down and then try to throw their knees to their chest and pop back up. But it doesn't last long, as you can tell, because he's already switched. And the way you score Tabata, if you're unfamiliar, this is a really great format, is your score is your lowest round. So let's say he did 25 pull-ups in the first round, and then all those other ones across there, you wouldn't add them up for your Tabata score. Whatever your lowest round is, that's what you could sustain, and that was your score. So if his smallest round of pull-ups is 11 reps, his score for the pull-ups is 11. Great question. Kipping is like a whole interesting deep topic in itself anyway, because it's just what CrossFitters resort to is a kip, right? So like when I always think of pull-ups, I think of them in multiple ways. Like you have this spectrum of pull-ups, and you have spectrums of variations of pull-ups too. But like the more strict you are, the more strength you're gaining out of it, and the more kipping you're doing, the more likely you can build volume, capacity, and conditioning on that range of motion, right? So I like using a traditional kip on a pull-up a little more than a butterfly for my own fitness, because I think it takes more effort. So it's like a sweet spot mix. Hey, oh, I thought they were going to drop an ad on me. I'm like, I got premium. What the heck? It's like a sweet spot of between the strict and the butterfly. So there is some strength work, some endurance work, some conditioning work. So I like traditional kipping. Yeah, clock. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Tabata was like a staple back then, and it changed. But we have to remember too, Mainsight, the people who program Mainsight have changed. Mainsight we think of as like this entity. It's like this being almost that just like produced our workouts, but it's been so many different people over the years that, you know, they have extreme biases, even if they pretend like they don't. Like, so some people don't even think about Tabata, or maybe newer programmers, especially the guests they've had on lately, don't even realize Tabata was something that was used by CrossFit regularly. Imagine doing GHDs and you're 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Yeah, way too long. That red shirt slowing him down for sure. Yeah, exactly, Corey. And I've been doing that a lot in the jump ship crew, or like the 90-60 masters programs. I've been forcing the kip, the traditional kip, with a change of direction instead of butterfly, because I think there is a lot of value in the challenge that presents compared to butterfly. Butterfly is just like having a very good rhythm. And don't get me wrong, you can definitely work your arms a good bit and get your heart rate up, but the kipping pull-up itself, I think, is a more well-rounded tool. Yeah, 8. I'd have a round of 0 in here real quick. But Rob Miller, I don't know much about Rob Miller other than the fact that he was a complete animal in all these early CrossFit videos. He's in a bunch of them. He might be in other ones I'm going to play today, but I don't know where he is now. I don't know where he came from. I got to dig into the story of Rob Miller, I guess. They hammered on the kipping pull-up at the L1. Hammered in what way, Chris? Like they really like it, or they were very strict about it, or what? Yeah, the backstroke GHD. It's a little different than what we're used to. Dude, early on, even though these are workout demos and we're supposed to be taking from this and using it to apply to our own workouts back in, I think this is probably, I'm just throwing out a random number, 2004, 2005, this one probably came out. It doesn't mean they were moving that well. Okay, so there's a lot of videos that we're going to watch today where the technique isn't there. It's not refined like it is today. Because these were, I don't want to call them regular people. They were all super fit people, even for today's standards compared to the general population that comes in your affiliate. But you know, the movement and the technique and the coaching wasn't as crisp and developed back then, obviously, because now we have 100,000 coaches who are all really dialing in different CrossFit movements, and then we have standards that have been applied since the introduction of the games that have changed the way we think about movement and think about range of motion. So back then, we're just thinking about intensity and mixing, modalities basically, and seeing what comes out the other side. This is still so early on that, you know, Glassman's still in my opinion, he's still observing and trying to make changes, right? Seeing what the output's going to be so he can change the input. Beautiful. That's a sick one. All right, we're going to keep it rolling. Yeah, if you haven't done Tabata something else, highly recommend it. I've probably done that workout 30 times. I used to do it all the time back in the day when I just didn't have the time to set up the bar, didn't want to set up the bar. All right, we'll keep it rolling with the Rob Miller theme for a moment. This is one of I probably watched this demo 20 times. I've done this workout a few times too. I really like muscle ups, but this is Jason I'm gonna kill this heavy metal so we can talk. Yeah, so 100 squats, 5 muscle ups, 75, 10, 50, 15, 25 squats, and 20 muscle ups. It's a hero WOD, legit hero WOD. I guess this, if I'm doing this at home, should I do butterfly sit-ups or a Tabata bar instead of GHD sit-ups? So I don't, yeah, that's a great question for Tabata something else. I usually just did ab mat sit-ups. That's what I did way back in the day, just to keep the numbers high and the reps flying and the intensity high. I would get to complete failure on a GHD. Toaster bar is an interesting option, though. I've never done it with toaster bar. So the reason I picked this one, other than the fact that it brings me back all the feels from watching it so many times back in the day, is because it got me thinking about different stimulus. Like, so when these workouts were written, Greg wrote a lot of these workouts, and I assume had an intent or a stimulus in mind when he wrote them, as how long he thought it would take some of his better athletes, what he wanted the workout to feel like, I'd imagine. So on and so forth. And so you're kind of seeing it play out in this one, in another demo I'm going to play here after this. We'll watch this for a few minutes, but excuse me, that sickness won't go away. But my point is, this was now almost 20 years ago that this workout's being done, something like that. The evolution of the athlete that would now take on the same hero workout and absolutely crush it with big sets of unbroken muscle ups. I mean, squat pace just unbroken through double and triple digit sets. They just don't have to stop at rapid fire. It completely changes, I would imagine, what somebody who would have originally written these workouts would think, right? So the stimulus completely changes. The intensity, maybe the intensity ramps up. Maybe they're just so fit. It's easy to move at that faster pace. But you see Rob here, these are very deliberate single muscle ups with a small kip, a lot of upper body pulling. And so this volume of muscle up back then would have been appropriate for a hero WOD. It's kind of crazy. I'm trying to do the math in my head really quick, think what it is for total volume. 15, 30, that's like 50 muscle ups or something. That is 50 muscle ups today is like the old 30 muscle up for time, like barrier of being challenging. It's just not crazy. And so this, I think, takes him probably 20 minutes to get through. No, unless Taylor infected me via text message and live stream, I can't blame him. Yeah, exactly. So that last set of 20 muscle ups, and I think that was probably, let's fast forward a bit because there goes the shirt. Someone was mentioning, why is the shirt still on? So let's go ahead here and get to this. So you see the conditioning wise, they're not where they were or not where they are today. His muscle ups, he's even got the turnout at the bottom. I mean, still pretty decent muscle up, honestly, for the lack of the kip. You got the swing through with the legs, but nothing connected, right? So he's got 10 muscle ups left, 17 minutes in. So again, this was probably created to be sort of a battle or a fight through, because it is a hero workout, right? So you would think it's supposed to be 25, 30 minutes, because most hero workouts are, with the exception of some of the shorter ones, like Randy's a fast workout, but even Randy probably had different intent back when it was created than we see now with this. Yeah, you definitely did. How was that last set of 12, Corey? Not too bad. I've seen a lot of guys kind of crush that semis workout so far. A lot of times between 4 and 5 minutes, maybe. Oh, is it the video HQ used for standing head position? The burn. Let's just say all these videos I'm showing today were well before CrossFit Games were a thing. So there was no such thing as a movement standard per se. There was range of motion that they wanted you to hit, but yeah, that's funny though. Another great question. Were all the WODs written for 60-minute classes back then? Absolutely not. So when CrossFit was designed, as far as I can tell, and from everything I've heard and seen, Greg was a one-on-one coach for a long time. He was working with like an individual, or he'd work with small like sports groups and things like that. So he'd write these workouts as kind of one-offs as your workout of the day. There was no class flow to it. There was no affiliate class. That wasn't a thing yet. Affiliate class didn't really turn into a thing until more gyms started popping up, and then people started flooding these places, and they had to find ways to get handfuls of people through these workouts. So you had to organize better and then turn it into a class, so to speak. And that's sort of where the certification started coming out. So the level 1 was just understanding the methodology, and then the level 2 became, okay, you understand the methodology, you probably have a gym or you coach at a gym. Now, how do you, coach effectively throughout the basic movements and be able to deliver it to a large group of people? All right. Awesome workout. Awesome hero WOD. Yeah, good point. The girls are normally quicker workouts. The guys take a while. Should be the other way around. Very nice. Very nice. So again, all these workouts kind of roll one after another here. Eva T taking on Nate. And again, this one, another workout demo I watched a while. And I like this one because a lot of people, we still use Nate pretty regularly because it still stands up to the test of time very well, mostly because it's an AMRAP, right? So you can completely rip through this or go as slow as you want, get your first muscle up over 20 minutes. That's the beauty of AMRAPs. But again, this sort of emphasizes my point from before. Yeah, Nate is fun. Is that like when this was created, what do you think Greg or whoever expected the score to be for a workout like this? So nowadays people do 20 rounds plus of Nate. They do a minute per round, run around that place, and it's more of a transition thing because they can always do the muscle ups unbroken. They can rip through the handstand push-ups. A lot of people do them just strict, and then the swings, are just not that heavy for a lot of people that are higher level competitors. Even though it's the heavier kettlebell, that's kind of the only aspect that's a bit challenging for this workout. Yeah, man. Do it anywhere this space. You can see the original HQ was not like, I don't want to say it wasn't thought out. They obviously had a plan for it all, but it wasn't created the same way that, gyms today are created, where we need handstand push-up space because it became such a staple, or we need, the rigs built out a certain way. Like, this is 20 years of refining what our gym should look like to optimize our training. I've noticed a lot of early hero workouts are more like benchmark workouts, JT being a good example. There was some shift to long, grueling hero workouts at some point. Yeah, there may be some truth to that. I'd have to look back and see when they were actually released, but you're right. And I think that starts to happen as like CrossFit just builds in popularity and more people take it on and more people start crushing workouts. And then the coach thinks that more and more is going to be the next step to make things harder. And a lot of hero workouts later on were not made by Coach Glassman or anyone like that. After a while, they started being like sent in from people who, were a part of some tragic situation, frankly. So they weren't always written by Greg. And not that I think there's any sort of semblance that you could see what a Greg workout is versus what someone else's workout is. But I think you're right. The idea that a hero workout started to become something that had to be like just had to be something that would ruin your day, essentially. You'd have to spend 46 minutes on it and not be able to move after for it to be a good hero WOD, which I don't necessarily agree with. So again, looking back, we kind of see, how muscle ups were looked at back in the day when these workouts were written. They were challenging. They were challenging for the girls and the guys. They were still a really tough movement. They took time. 2 muscle ups might be a minute back then, whereas today, even a loser like me can do 2 muscle ups over and over and over again without any sort of hesitation. question, is there any definition for hero WODs, girl WODs? No, not really. The girl WODs were traditionally through Greg, and then HQ, I don't know who did them, but HQ released like 7 more of them a couple years ago, basically plays on the originals. They were just benchmarks. They're just used to be tested and retested around the training to see if, your fitness was improving the way that they suspect it would be. And then hero WODs were just kind of one-offs created for like a fallen soldier or law enforcement or a firefighter or someone that went down. It was just like the tribute thing. And like we talked about with Clock's comment, the more you could suffer, the more it was like, deemed a hero WOD or a valuable hero WOD. Maybe not overall, but certainly not a hero in the gym myself. All right, let me get the point here. We're going to keep it rolling. We're already 20 minutes in. How'd that happen? Okay. I think this is a funny one. Actually, I'm going to play one more little. This is actually a girl demo WOD. Speaking of that. Here we go. Christine. Kill this music. Dang. Whoever edited these or added the music just loves loud music. Pat Barber. Let's see what year this was originally done. 2007, Pat Barber. Pat turned into an absolute animal. And like, if you saw this guy today working out at a gym, you'd be like, oh, he's just like one of those fast moving affiliate members. You wouldn't think much about it, but he turned into one of the most beastly, intense competitors the CrossFit Games has ever seen in pretty short order. Also, love those box jumps. This is something that I wish was... See, this is something that the games sort of ruined, is these like plyo-based explosive box jumps where he's still opening his hips, but he's opening them in the air. Used a lot during Fight Gone Bad to maximize your score. There's nothing wrong with what he's doing there. I want to just like... Okay, yeah. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is a nice like explosive movement that we don't do that much plyo work like intentionally in CrossFit. Why wouldn't you cycle your box jumps as fast as you can? He's getting to extension. He's bounding up and down super fast. It was a regular thing back in the 2000s. It just changed once you couldn't regulate that standard in the first open. And then once that happened in the first open, they regulated that. They were like, oh no, every time you have to jump and land and open your hip. But that's not true for your training. This is a really good tool for your training. You want to move fast? You want to learn how to be explosive and springy? Go. I love this. And in fact, I just had an athlete shoot a demo of this for me because I just programmed this intentionally coming up in the next week or 2 weeks or something in the jump ship program, is I want people to start including stuff like this back into their metcons. Dude, bounding gets a bad rap, basically. I mean, we bound all the time in CrossFit. You sort of bound when you run. You bound when you do the jump rope anytime. And a few people got some injuries. It haven't been that many bounding injuries, or at least like major public ones we know of. The Julie Fouché one was very public and very like, it ruined her season, so it made a lot of people super wary about the safety of it. But people bound all the time in gyms. Not even just CrossFit gyms, but CrossFit gyms especially. They still are bounding in their workouts. Even regular people are coming in and bounding box jumps in gyms all across the world. There's not that many Achilles injuries. Is there a risk of it? Sure, there is. There's a risk. But I don't know if it's necessarily a higher risk of a bounding injury than anything else you're doing in there. And again, I don't think that you need to bound all the time for your training, but I think having it in there now and then is perfectly fine if you got good ankle mobility. You're being consistent. You're your sleep and your nutrition is where it needs to be. If you're training with everything in mind and staying healthy, bounding should be part of your exercise. So, and this is an excellent point. These kind of jumps are also a good warm-up for Olympic lifting. That is exactly right. Any sort of explosive sort of plyo stuff is great for both Olympic lifting and even your slow lifts. So that's one of the reasons that I almost always program my lifting after my Metcon, is because there's usually a bounding or kind of a plyo or explosive movement in the Metcon or a similar movement pattern that will carry over to the lifting, and then you're primed as can be for the lift. Okay, I think let's do one more. Oh, before I do the last video today, guys, did anybody else see who is going to be a guest, or two people are going to be guests on my show next week? I literally cannot believe that either of these guys agreed to do this. On Monday, I have Jason Khalipa coming on the show. Yes, the Jason Khalipa. Khalipa is coming on the show. I'm not just doing more of his highlights, but he's coming on the show, and we're going to go over some of his best and worst moments ever in CrossFit and the games. And, you know, I think he's going to be a really good sport about it, especially since that post I made from one of my first videos ever went viral on, I still get likes and comments on it every day on that Instagram post of him doing Amanda. And that's how he like reached out, and we chatted about that, because I felt bad because I was laughing my ass off about the failed reps in Amanda, because it's just such an epic moment. But believe it, we'll be reliving that with Jason on Monday. And then we're going to have to talk about Amanda. It's happening. There's no way around it. And I have to talk about it with him. But there's other great things we're going to talk about too. And then on Tuesday, it just so happens Matt Chan is coming on the show. Back-to-back days. I'm off my schedule because both guys were just like, oh, I can do this day at this time. I'm like, done. I'll do it. It's on. So 2 days in a row, I have Khalipa and then I have Chan. And then the following week, I have Adam Knifer from CrossFit Fort Vancouver. So I don't know what's happening with the show, but people are willing to come on and chat. So I will take it. I'm going to run with the momentum as much as I can, because this is like the most fun thing I have going on right now. All right. Last workout of the day. Yeah, I know. Oh, wait. I saw a comment. Hang on one second. So the dog on the left, the yellow one there, his name is Peepee, P-E-P-E, Peepee. And he is he's like 1-year-old German Shepherd Chihuahua mix. Yes, I don't know how that happened. We found him basically in the streets of Arizona, rescued him. He's a German Shepherd Chihuahua mix. We did the DNA test. It's pretty crazy. He's funny. Luckily, YouTube just approved me to get you guys the badges and the wrenches and all the things that you guys want here pretty soon. So I'm going to set that up, and my badges are going to be the little dogs. So you guys are going to get to choose one of my 4 dogs to have as your badge. That's what I've decided. All right, last video of the day. Here we go. This is a funky one. I don't know how many of you have seen this. Uneven grace. Yes, you're seeing that right. I did this once. Uneven grace way back in the day. I have to admit, I think it's pretty stupid now, but it's pretty funny, and I admit I've done it.
So, Mike, what are we doing right now?
We're going to mark my hands on where I clean. So mark my hands on the bar.
So is the bar even now?
The bar, yes, it is even now.
I don't know if you can add your own picture. I don't know much about this, to be honest. I'm learning as I go.
Now, go ahead and put it on the ground. Don't let go. Don't let go. Okay, now, our lovely assistants.
We are brothers. Yeah, Adam Knifer and I go way back.
Uneven way. What?
Inside and out.
See how much pressure I'm putting on my hand to make it bigger?
Yeah.
All right, so in short, they're making sure that their hands stay on the bar in the same place. This is his normal clean and jerk grip.
So his hands must stay within those tape markings for the entire workout. Okay, let's do that for everybody. So we have an evenly weighted bar here, 135. Fast forward a bit.
So they're doing grace. They have to have their normal grip. So they're doing 1 rep to make sure that their grip is legit. And they're putting tape marks on the bar to make sure that they stay in that grip. And then they're going to change the load on the barbell?
The bar is unevenly loaded. For the guys, it's still 135 pounds, but we have a 45 and a 5 over here, which is 50.
So one side of the barbell is heavier than the other. So when you pick it up, it's going to feel obviously way different. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
Pounds and a 35 and a 5 over here, which is 40 pounds.
If someone wants to make the argument that it's
still got 135
because nothing's evenly loaded,
we've
like
marked the
you can make
bars
that
with
argument,
tape
but
where the hands have to be. We're going to do 5 reps on one side, switch sides, 5 reps on the other.
This is obviously at an old
3
seminar
rounds of that. So
with
it's
the black shirt.
30 reps.
This is before red shirts.
Same as Grace. Same weight as Grace.
That's young Chuck Carr as well.
We've weighted
That's
it
Mike
unevenly.
G.
Mike, do you have a Grace time?
I know it's like probably around 4 minutes.
Okay. And what do you think?
Don't do it, Corey. It's
That
not worth it.
Harder. My last races have been like with the quads.
Yeah, a lot of us have done uneven lifts before.
And have you ever
Not
done
intentionally,
unevenly?
though.
I have never had.
Jilly, have you ever done one?
I've done a Grace with about 55 or 65 pounds.
Okay, never 83.
Never 83.
Have you ever done an unevenly balanced bar?
No.
Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's look at it.
Really?
Oh, watch this.
Here we go.
People getting caught off guard. Oh dear. Oh dear.
All right, done. Time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to defend this one, Chris.
All right. Is that different?
Yeah, it's a little more challenging. You just have to.
So yeah, I know there are haters, but this is kind of silly. To me, like, I get it, right? You shouldn't have something perfectly evenly weighted all the time to your perfect standards, what you're used to. You want something that kind of takes you out of your element, out of the box, and see if you can adapt and overcome, right? I guess that's probably the mindset of trying something like this. I just don't really see why you'd have to change the weight on a bar on each side. Like, there's other odd objects you can do that give you feelings like this. Like, I don't know if someone was just being cute, who thought it'd be funny, or if it's just a one-off challenge, but they made it a demo, and the demo was convincing enough for me to say, I could do that, so I'm going to try it. And me and at least one of my buddies did this back in the day. Does it moving the movement arm defeat? Well, yeah, it does. It sure does. There is no goal other than it's just a different stimulus.
You
I would
almost feel
imagine.
like you have to drop down on one side before getting under on the other side. You just really have to make sure that you're doing the correct move. Just getting right back under that bar.
All right. Cool. Do you want to try it one, or do you want to?
No, I'm
okay.
just gonna hit it. Whatever happens, happens.
Chuck, you want to try one, or do you want to go with Mike's theory?
Maybe that's legit.
I've known Mike a long time, so I kind of want to go with his theory.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Starting in 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, off they go. They made it look a lot harder when they were trying their first rep, because everyone knows how that feels when you're like warming up and they're like, oh my God, this is going to be heavy, or this is going to be hard, or whatever. And then 3, 2, 1, go happens, and someone comes down from above and jabs you in the butt with a shot of adrenaline, and then off you go, and everything feels easy and light. Now, like, Mike G's not making this look hard at all. Yeah, it's unnecessary. It is. But it's funny. It's funny. So this, I'm showing you guys this not so you go do it, but because, like, you know, CrossFit wasn't perfect. You take the good with the bad, but they dared to experiment with things, right? So you have to give them that. This was probably thought of on the spot. You know, Tony Budding's at some seminar with a camera, probably level 1 seminar back in the day. And, oh, what if we did this? I don't know. It's not a big deal. It's just funny that it's been kind of memorialized. And a lot of people haven't seen it, but I have. Yeah, and it is a lot smaller difference for the guys and the girls. And you could change how you want to misload the bar if you wanted to. For whatever reason, they just went with that. Again, I think this was probably impromptu. I'll have to get either Chuck or Mike on the show or one of the ladies on the show and find out if it was an impromptu thing. The guys just don't make it look hard. Asymmetric ears. It's an example of not taking yourself too seriously, which is a good thing. Yes, I think so. If we're talking about the athletes willing to do it, I agree. The coaches at the seminar taking this on, being good sports about it, I agree. I have a feeling I don't know Tony Budding at all. I don't know any of the HQ guys personally at all, but I've watched hundreds of hours of content with everybody in these videos, right? And I get the feeling Tony Budding took himself very seriously. So he probably thought this was a great idea and changing the game with it. I don't know. Maybe it was a joke that he came up with, but I have a feeling he's taking it serious and these athletes are being good sports about it. That's my take. Yeah, then goes. That's the funny thing about the L1. Absolutely obliterate yourself with workouts, so then you have to recover and focus on the lesson and sit around for half a day. So the guys are way done. They crushed it. Jonathan Ortega, always experiment. Yes, you should always experiment. I do agree with that. Yeah, I just think there's maybe better ways to like. That's probably not the best thing to be doing over and over again. But there's other ways to experiment, and there are other ways to. I don't know. Something about this just has my brain going like this is the wrong way to do it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just being sensitive about it. I don't know. God, wouldn't that be awesome? So I was at this local event recently out in Hawaii. Actually, it was a big competition, and they had these lifting platforms on this like long like concrete deck, maybe 10 feet between the wall behind them, and in front of them was this like glass railing, like there's like pane glass up to like a normal railing height, and you were looking out over the ocean. Like super beautiful place. It's kind of like a resort restaurant type place. They had this CrossFit competition, and there are people who were failing this hard, heavy complex forward, and the bars kept rolling, and people would try to like catch the bars and roll it back. And then the big, strong guys were coming up, putting like 300 and change on for this like clean and jerk complex or whatever. And I had my phone out the entire time filming all the guys, waiting for some guy to miss a clean a little forward, take 4 steps trying to save it, and then just dump it through this beautiful glass, railing down about 100 feet into the ocean. I just was like, this is where you're going to set this lift up. I need to catch this on video if we're all going to participate. But thankfully, nothing bad happened. No one broke the glass, but my God, I could see the writing on the wall. If they had a snatch instead of a clean, you better believe a barbell was going through the glass into the ocean. Pretty funny. I always like to see crazy things happen. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I like to see chaos. It did not happen, but it happened in my mind about like 15 times. So I know what it looks like. I just didn't get to catch it and share it with everybody. Yeah, it was entertaining. It is. There's a lot of entertaining stuff. There's a ton more things. There's no video. It didn't happen. It was. I could maybe I'll post it in my story like what the setup looked like if you're wondering, but it was a cool setup, like super beautiful, super awesome place to lift. It just, if it went wrong, it was going to go very wrong. And luckily it didn't. All right. I lied. I said this was my last one. I have one more pulled up, so I might as well just do it. We're kind of on the theme. Super quick one. I'm here. I can at least talk without coughing my lungs out at the moment. All right. Grace between 2 of the original fire breathers, Greg Amundsen and David Lees. Nothing much to this video other than we can appreciate kind of what intensity looked like back in the day. Again, without the game standards in place, you can see the closed hip, soft knee, not locking out until we bring it back down. It didn't matter back then. People weren't looking. Oh yeah, we got Jeopardy coming up soon. Yes. Head right over to Get With The Programming after this for Jeopardy. Yes, I'll be off in a moment, so you guys have time for that. But anyway, people would shit all over this video today. They would be like, oh my God, what is that? No rep, no rep. They would just be ripping this apart. But if you look at this through the lens of when it was done in the context of the intensity and what they were trying to do, beat a Grace PR, like this is an impressive performance for the time and for the athletes. Like this is awesome. And so I think this just reminds me of like, people want to go all over the internet and shit on everyone's movement patterns and everyone's standards and everything. But standards are only standards in CrossFit because of the games. And the games are not the CrossFit methodology. And should you strive to move perfectly and have amazing range of motion all the time? Yes, of course you should. That's part of it, right? That's part of chasing what they call, the virtuosity of movement. But you have to applaud the intensity as well. And the intensity, I think, as long as you're moving safe, maybe you're not moving as efficient as you could, but you're moving safe, the intensity is the real driver for you getting better. And so a workout like a demo like this, I can get behind, even though people would shit all over the standards these days. It doesn't matter. People are missing the point when you see this video. And if you think, oh my God, no rep, you're missing the point. Yeah, training versus competition. And again, when you're training, if you're training for competition and the competition standards have you needing to meet certain criteria on your range of motion, you should train that criteria, right? You should be working on that. But these guys weren't training for the CrossFit Games. It didn't exist. They were just trying to get super fucking fit. And so they're moving as fast as they can. Yeah, bats were not invented back then. Yeah, Hiller's head would explode if he saw this. But I think Hiller came into the scene, I mean, just a few years ago, obviously with his YouTube channel and all that stuff. But even when he was just coaching CrossFit and competing and all that, he was still coming into it with the, being taught the game standards and standing all the way up and stuff. Before the games, there were no standards. That's what I'm saying. There was just range of motion that we strove to hit. And if you didn't hit it, it's not the end of the world. Oh yeah, those guys are decent. Those guys were super fit. So I'm trying to do a whole show on Greg Admonson. He was like the original HQ fire breather. He's in probably 50 CrossFit demo videos, absolutely killing it from back in the day. I think he's like a motivational speaker now. He was an ex-cop, I believe, but I got to get a hold of him somehow and have him chat through all the back in the day stuff. All right, that's it. Yeah, the original fire breather. Exactly. That's who that is. Wow. Okay. I made it by myself for 42 minutes. I'm happy with that. Like I said, from here, head over to Get With Your Programming, 17 minutes away from CrossFit Jeopardy. Wildly entertaining show. Monday, Jason Kalipa's on the show. Tuesday, Matt Chan's on the show. And then I think the following week, one of those days, I'll post it up. Adam Knifer's on the show. And I'm looking for others along the way. Oh, yes. I have not read that. I should read that. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Thank you, as always. Different times. Yeah, I scheduled them ahead of time. I just went with whatever they said they were available for. I'm not going to argue with those guys. When they say they can be there, I will move my shit around and be there. So just look at the YouTube channel. I have everything scheduled ahead of time as far as I can. Yeah, that's true. All right, guys, if you haven't liked and subscribed, do me a favor. Like we pointed out in the beginning of the show, we're just trying to get to 1,000. We're like 19 away. Come on, guys, get me over 1,000, and then I'll beg you to get me to 2,000 later. But let's get to 1,000 so I can have the 1.0K. It'll be fun. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. See you later. Have a great day.